So, welcome to Scottish Summit and welcome to the session Exchange Server Subscription Edition and what happens on premises in 2025. First of all, I would like to thank all our online streaming sponsors, so Proximo 3, the digital sponsors, Locodera, Riada Consultancy, and Cubix. So, I'm Thomas Stensitzki. I'm a 20-year exchange experienced IT guy, so to speak. I'm an author, blogger, podcaster, MCT region lead, and if I don't do anything with IT, I'm collecting vinyl records. If you want to stay in contact, just use the QR code or my linked tree link on this slide. So let's start talking about Exchange Server Subscription Edition and what we know so far. This is just a quick reminder on where we are in fall 2024. Well, first of all, we do now know how the next server edition of Exchange Server will, or what the product name will be, because it was the thing called Exchange Server vNext. Now we know for sure it's Exchange Server Subscription Edition or Exchange Server SE for short. We do need a quick reminder on the life cycle situation for Exchange Server on premises. Exchange Server 2013 is already out of support, and this for more than a year now, so because it ended in April 2023. Exchange Server 2016 and 19 are already in the extended support phase. So mainstream support for both products ended quite some time ago, and even Exchange Server 2019 ended in January 2024. Just for completeness, Exchange Server 2019 won't have a full lifespan of 10 years as any other Microsoft Server product. So Exchange Server 2019 and 2016 will have their life cycle end on October 14th next year. And this is quite challenging for the upcoming release for Exchange Server Subscription Edition and for all customers staying with on-premises Exchange and wanting to implement Exchange Server SE to the very date of October next year, because they want to stay in a supported state. And this is what this talk is about. Therefore, an additional reminder for the never-ending story for Exchange. So this is a visualized part for the end of support in October 2025 for 2016 and 2019. Because I think the visuals are much better than just words. So, Exchange Server vNext was announced in September 2020, and it's quite sometime in the past. The mainstream support for Exchange Server 2019 was brought forward to January 9th this year, so even the mainstream support didn't make it full 5 years. The interesting part here. And in preparation for subscription edition, we look forward to have Exchange Server 2019 Cumulative Update 15 being available sometime in the upcoming month. It's announced for the second half of 2024. So anytime from now, you will have Exchange Server 2019 Cumulative Update 15. And what that means in detail, we'll see in a bit. And sometime next year, so early second half of 2025, that's the overall announcement, quote unquote, date we've received. Exchange Server SE will be available. Hopefully it will be available prior to October 14th, so that we have a chance to deploy Exchange Server second edition. Second edition, that's quite a joke. Subscription edition. Prior to the support end of the other on-premises product. But nevertheless, this is the only version going forward for 2026 and the future. So just the facts. Around the cumulative updates for 2019, the Exchange cumulative update 14 was made available in February this year. As you know, we currently have a half-year cadence, so just a CU every 6 months, roughly. CU 2015 again is announced for the second half, available for fall 2024, and it lays the tracks for implementing the subscription edition of Exchange. CU 15 will bring us support for TLS version 1.3, and so besides that being a pretty well, a feature that we are all looking for, because well, we do want to enhance security of Exchange Server, won't we? So, and the other feature, quote unquote, is going to be available with CU 15 is the return of the certificate management in the Exchange Admin Center, something that we lost a few CU versions ago. And we all know how ridiculously complicated or unuseful the PowerShell version for managing certificates are. And there are other expected changes that are announced, and we all know expected changes means, yeah, they might happen or might not. We will see, but we should be prepared for it anyway. This is an enhancement of the anti-malware scan interface, AMSI in short, which provides some, or will provide, if it makes it, additional functionality. But it's more important what we will lose, and this is the OWA, so the Outlook on the web instant messaging, and the unified communications managed API will go away, which means no unified communications functionality for the future for Exchange Server. And this makes it perfectly clear that if you want to have Exchange Server on premises and you want to still use unified communications functionality, you have to move to cloud voice services. And the Windows message queuing component, which wasn't used by Exchange anyway anymore, but it will not be part of the Exchange Server setup in the future, so it is totally removed, which brings a less attack space to your Windows servers. There are certain things you should be aware of with the upcoming Exchange Server releases. So we are looking forward to have Exchange Server 2019 CO15 coming up this fall. Then we will have the release to manufacturing version, the RTM version of Exchange Server SE coming up early in H2, so second half of calendar year 2025, which will allow for an in-place upgrade from Exchange Server 2019 14 or 15, so which would be which is a very nice option, performing an in-place upgrade instead of a side-by-side upgrade and moving mailboxes, but we will come to that later. And to make the transition to SE as smoothly as possible, the SE RTM version will be or will have code parity with Exchange Server CO15, so there won't be any new features. But if there have been any security updates since the release of CO15 until the release of SE RTM, those security updates will be part of the upcoming version of Exchange Server SE. So no need to worry about any of the security updates between CO15 and the RTM release date. And there has already been an announcement for the Exchange Server SE Cumulative Update 1. So we look forward to 3 releases until late fall next year. So even the first feature enhancement for SE has been announced. The important part is on the coexistence side of things. So even with CO15, you might have struggling installing CO15 if you still have Exchange Server 2013 in your Exchange organization on premises. So it's a good starting point, a good time to start removing those Exchange Server versions. because the setup will block installation if it finds any 2013 servers in your Exchange organization. And this is even true, I will repeat this later, this is even true if there are any Exchange Server 2013 Edge transport servers subscribed to the Exchange organization. So RTM will block installation as well if it finds any Exchange Server 2013 servers in your organization. And CU1 will even block installation if it still finds 2016 and 29 servers, because at the time when CU1 is being released, 2016 and 2019 will be out of support. That's the reason why the setup for CU1 will block installation if it finds any unsupported Exchange Server versions in the Exchange organization. And again, this is not only true for any mailbox servers in your organization, but for any subscribed edge transport servers as well. So it's time now to plan ahead for migrating your on-premises Exchange environment. So besides the blocking for the unsupported versions and coexistence, Exchange Server 2019 CEO15 will introduce new product keys. This is just due to the change in the licensing for the upcoming licensing for SE. This is a preparation for subscription edition because, as mentioned, SE RTM will be code compatible or will have code parity. So that's why the new volume license key functionality will be part of CO15. The other nice thing is CO15 will introduce support for Windows Server 2025. So as you can guess, CO15 will be available as or will require an RTM for Windows Server 2025. So they will be available. Maybe, that's my guess, my gut feeling, will be available around the very same time frame, I guess. So from a lifecycle perspective, I'd guess it would be a good choice to plan ahead for implementing Exchange Server 2015 on Windows Server 2025 systems, because this gives or provides you with an option with a good life cycle option for the operating system for the upcoming future. If you are still running Exchange Server 2019 on Windows Server 2019, is a good point to at least upgrade to 2022. So depending on the supportability of the available operating systems on your hypervisor platform, by not naming any specific vendor at this point. The subscription edition will require a subscription-based licensing, and this means that you have to have either software assurance for your on-premises licenses, so an active software assurance contract in place, or you need to have Microsoft 365 Clouds licenses, because the Microsoft 365 Cloud licenses for E3 and E5 allow for an extended usage. So they provide you with license keys for your on-premises servers, because those licenses include the licensing of the so-called productivity server suite for SharePoint Server, Exchange Server, and even Skype for Business Server for on-premises. So you do have to have licenses based on software assurance. If you currently do not have software assurance placed, it's a good time to do so, or move to cloud licenses. These are the very two options for licensing your on-premises Exchange servers. The good news is that there will still be a coexistence license available, so coming at no cost. So if you do have an unlicensed Exchange Server SE in place, which you only want to use for coexistence purposes, so managing recipient objects on premises, then you can use the hybrid configuration wizard for licensing this unlicensed servers. Still a reminder, a coexistence server is not allowed to host any productive mailboxes. period. And a HCW, short for hybrid configuration wizard, the component cannot license any edge transport servers because they are, well, external to the organization. So edge transport servers still require a full license. Due to the fact that you do not host any mailbox databases, a standard license is sufficient. So what happens with Exchange Server SECU1? Again, it's planned for the second half for 2025. We do not have any specific fixed dates, just a time frame as usual. So it doesn't come as a full surprise. But the CU1 for Exchange Server SE is the very first CU that brings the new features for the SE edition. And the important thing here is that it will introduce Kerberos for server-to-server authentication within your Exchange organization. So Kerberos in that case is a replacement for NTLM v2 authentication between the servers. And what you have to watch out for the fact that, as announced, the Kerberos authentication will be enabled on all virtual directories within your Exchange org on the SE servers. The other important change is that SECU1 will introduce a REST-based administrative API. The way it was phrased in the announcement, remote PowerShell is still or will be still supported, but there was a fragment of a sentence, slightly giving us the gut feeling that remote PowerShell will go away sometime in the future. So there won't be any changes to that, no decommissioning of the remote PowerShell yet in 2025, but we need to prepare for the fact that it will happen sometime in the future. The CU1, as mentioned, Exchange Server 2016 and 2019 will be out of support when CU1 is released. Yes, I know I repeat this quite so often in this talk, but it's important. And setup will block installation if it finds any unsupported version of Exchange Server present in Active Directory. So if you have or did perform any, let's say, not well supported uninstallations in the past, and there are any old server fragments in the configuration partition and in Active Directory, it's a good time to check the configuration partition for any legacy old Exchange servers, because they will stop you or block you from installing Exchange Server SE and the upcoming SU1. So be aware of that. The other interesting part for CU1 is that Outlook Anywhere will be removed. So it's now the right time with your Exchange Server 2019 organization to finally enable MAPI over HTTP if you haven't done so for whatever kind of legacy requirements from an Outlook client side of things. Which means if you're still using legacy Outlook clients not capable of doing MAPI over HTTP, you already have time to do or start an Office migration on premises to move to a newer version of Outlook. So Outlook Anywhere will go away in fall of 2025. So now that we've talked about all the different things coming up with RTM and the different cumulative updates, so what are your choices for upgrading to Exchange Server Subscription Edition? Well, let's take a step back and have a look on the two different options for upgrading Exchange Server. So we have something that's called the legacy upgrade. That's something that we've done and we are pretty used to for the last decade, so to speak, right? Um, Prepare your Active Directory schema, Active Directory domains, install new Exchange servers on new hardware or virtual machines, and perform all the corresponding tasks like moving your namespace, creating a new namespace, configuring your TLS certificates, creating a database availability groups, moving mailboxes, yada yada. You know what is required to set up a new Exchange server environment in parallel to your existing one. And after moving all the mailbox and all the functionality, you decommission your old Exchange servers. This is what we call a legacy upgrade, something that really comes with a lot of work to do for IT personnel. And for my fancy term, there's something that we call modern servicing. This is an in-place upgrade, something that we've used to for quite some time as well, because it's just, taking a server in maintenance, installing a CU, taking the server out of maintenance, and we are good to go. And repeat this type of installation for every each server in your organization, and we are fine. So no setting up servers in parallel. So much easier way to do. Let's take a look at modern servicing. So modern servicing means I do have an Exchange Server 2019 with CO15. So preparing myself, my organization for the upgrade next year. And as soon as the RTM version is available, I simply perform an in-place upgrade. And off I go, having an Exchange Server subscription edition in place. As easy as that. And for any other CU coming down the road, so moving on to CU1, it's just an in-place upgrade. If I'm still on a legacy Exchange Server version, moving on to Exchange Server 2016, because I can only do a 2-version hop. So if I do want to go my way with my Exchange organization to Exchange Server 2019 CO15, I do have to do a so-called double hop migration. So setting up a new Exchange Server 2016 CO23 environment, doing all the AD preparation, installing the servers, moving mailboxes, yada yada. And after I've decommissioned Exchange Server 2010, I do the very same thing for setting up my 2019 environment. And after that, after performing my very last legacy upgrade tasks, I move on to modern servicing. So that's something that you should prepare for now. Because Exchange Server 2019, again, will be out of support on October 14th, 2025. So it's now time until late summer 2025 to do all your required legacy upgrades to bring your Exchange on-premises environment into a modern servicing state. From the technical specs, so what are the different migration paths for in-place upgrades or for legacy upgrades? So the currently supported versions for Exchange are 2016 CO23 and Exchange Server 2019 CO14 or the upcoming CO15 one. And if I want to migrate to Exchange Server SERTM, I do an in-place upgrade from Exchange Server 2019. That is the simplest task. The capability or the option to do an in-place upgrade from 2019 CO14 to SE doesn't mean exactly that legacy upgrade is not possible. So you can do so. So especially if you do want to move from Exchange Server 2019 CO14 on Windows Server 2019 later next year to RTM version on Windows Server 2025. Because remember, or just be aware of the fact that an in-place upgrade of the operating system for Exchange Server systems is not supported. It is not supported, just as a reminder. So if you do want to move to more modern operating system, legacy upgrade is your option. So 2016 won't allow for an in-place upgrade, therefore the legacy option is the only option available. Or just move from 2016 to 2019 CO14 and then to Exchange Server SE. These are the options available. And modern servicing, you remember the stuff that I just talked about a few minutes ago. With an in-place upgrade from RTM CO1, you are in the modern servicing world. If you remain with 2019 and 2016, well, again, October 14th next year, the supportability for those systems comes to a stop. If you're still running older versions, so any, for example, Exchange Server 2019 CO13 or older, you can do a legacy upgrade or an in-place upgrade to the most recent cumulative update for 2019. And the very same is true for any Exchange Server 2016 system, so CO 2022 or older, moving to CO 23, and then you are good to go towards Exchange Server SE RTM. And just for completeness, if you are still on Exchange Server 2013, the legacy upgrade to any of the versions of 2016 or 2019 are your options. And again, the preferred upgrade path from Exchange Server 2019 to SE is the in-place upgrade, just for the simplicity of the upgrade process itself. And yes, I know there are certain facts or requirements or prerequisites in your environment that might hinder you from going down that road. Therefore, maybe for some of you, the legacy upgrade from 2019 to SE might be the preferred options. But again, the preferred upgrade path, not only from the PG, but even my preferred upgrade path is still the in-place upgrade because it's the most convenient option to go. So we've seen that earlier in the presentation. So you need to be aware of 2025 that Exchange Server SE will be available early Q3. So early Q3 was the information announced in the roadmap update in April this year. The very last update talked about sometime in H2. So whatever, anytime in the second half of 2025, SE RTM will be available. And because an in-place upgrade only makes sense if the support or the product you offer an in-place upgrade for is still in support. So it's just some kind of date calculation, so it should be prior to October 14th, regards of the availability of the SE product, which means the overall time frame available for an in-place upgrade is short. It will be short, regardless of the date, the publishing date of the RTM version. So you should be prepared for that if you do want to use the in-place upgrade option. Some people might wonder if Exchange Server SE will have a beta phase. No, it won't. There won't be any beta phase for Exchange Server SE. The primary reason is because it has the identical product code to Exchange Server 2019 CO15, which will be available in fall this year. So it's more or less a 1 year, quote unquote, productive beta phase. Because there won't be any new features in the RTM version, right? And well, we are today. So CO15 is currently not available, at least at the very moment I'm doing this recording. But nevertheless, you should start planning ahead on how you want to migrate your on-premises environment if you want still or need on-premises Exchange servers. Well, and later in fall 2025, CU1 will be available. So I just mentioned this in this slide as well, just for completeness reasons. Therefore, my recommendation is move to Exchange Server 2019 today. especially if you are running Exchange Server editions that are not supported as of today. Prepare your Exchange organization. It's time to make your Exchange organization more secure. This is just a quote that we got used to over the last decades as well. So Exchange Server SE, it will be ready when it's ready. That's well, quite a thing, quite a citation, because we only have time frames when the product will be released. But nevertheless, we need to plan ahead. Scott Knoll of the Exchange BD just made that quote for this year's Exchange Summit conference that we had, so that even the PG is very excited about the next release. And yes, they hope. So we hope that customers will be too. And I look forward to the next edition of SE, because Exchange Server and email messaging is still a thing. Yeah, so at this point, I again want to thank our sponsors, the online streaming sponsor of Proximo 3, and the digital sponsors Locodera, Riada Consultancy, and Cubix. And this was the talk, Exchange Server SE, what happens on premises in 2025. Thank you for watching.